What is up, beautiful people? It's Wolfbrother Methos from the channel Frost and Fist, and welcome to Wolfbrother Wednesday. Alright guys, so first thing is first. Last week, there was no Wolfbrother Wednesday because just simply I couldn't even get to the camera or the computer long enough to get some filming done. It was literally, 12 hours a day, almost every day last week or more. And it was literally come home, eat, spend maybe an hour or less with my wife, go to sleep, get ready to start doing work over again the other days. Plus, in addition to, of course, I work about an hour away from work, so there's travel time, grocery shopping, cooking dinner, all that kind of good stuff. So, my day was really full every single day last week. But, nonetheless, there has been some hobby done, so let's shoot to a quick hobby update of my last couple of weeks. Alright there guys, so that is what the Wolfbrother has been up to the last couple of weeks. We got a couple of works in progress, and as soon as those projects are done, you are going to get to see what the completed project is like. I'll do a little showcase video for those models and show you guys how they turned out. So that's my work so far. Also, for my recent hobby update, a couple weeks ago, we had a whole bunch of friends together for dinner. We all went out for sushi. Freak hit me up with a special package that he received from our brother, the Nerd Life Richard, and it was really cool. I wasn't expecting to get anything that day, so I was really kind of ambushed there at the restaurant. Check it out.
You're doing an unboxing. Do it.
Oh. What is up, beautiful people? As always, it's Methos for the channel Frost and Fist, and the Wolfbrother's got an unboxing right here. I have no idea what this is. This is something from my awesome brother Richard from the Nerd Life. And
there he is. There he is right there. He's right here.
He is watching me unbox it right now through the magic of Skype. I'm really excited because I really have no clue whatsoever.
It's probably poop.
And I think my brother caped up every crack or crevice I could possibly get into.
He said crack.
Leave it. Guys, if you haven't been watching the channel very long, Brother Freak here is master of the poop joke, so he will find a way to make this booty related.
I love you.
Wait, this gift isn't booty related.
No, I hear you. I'm not saying anything. Hey, Richie was the one who taped it. He'll start gnawing on it. But the thing is, he takes forever to. He's very meticulous when it comes to it. Oh.
There appears to be a shirt here. And guys, I don't know if you know, but the Nerd Life gonna be a business doing shirts. Oh, and there's some plastic in here. Okay. Look at this first.
That's for your bro. Guys, if you haven't checked out the channel Darklight Dreamer yet, Darklight Dreamer is a Let's Player, and he has a specialty during horror games where he'll say, OS. Nope. That is so awesome. Darklight Dreamer's going to be so stoked, Richard. That's amazing. If I let him get to it.
Ooh.
And there is bunches of plastic here. There is a huge base here. Is this what I think it is? Massive pauldrons? Oh, the top of a chassis?
I think he's peeing on himself right now.
I need more hands. Guys, I need more hands.
The Huns of the Das.
Oh my god. We got all kinds of bits and bobs. Imperial Knight legs.
What kind of legs?
Imperial Knight legs.
Don't those normally go on Imperial Knights?
Yes, they do normally go on Imperial Knights. That is a very astute observation, my brother. Yo.
Hey, Rocky.
Fair warning, my friend. That is everything there.
Here. Turn it around so we can. There you go.
Dude, that is so awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, yeah.
Richard, you are a beautiful, beautiful man. I love you. Oh!
Hey, big old bear.
Oh.
What's up?
Oh, I just found one more thing.
I'm being.
This is a decal?
What?
Is this a decal?
Yeah, so it's a decal, yeah.
Oh, the Nerd Life. That is so cool. Guys, check this out. Ka-chow. This was the filming one, right? So that is the Nerd Life logo. It's going on some gear. Guys, by the way, you can get fantastic merchandise at the
Here we
Nerd
go.
Life.
He's starting to plug.
Richard, we need to write us a commercial. I'm gonna plug you every chance.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna plug you every
Whoa,
chance I get there.
wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
All right, say goodbye.
Thank you so much, guys. If you like this unboxing, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And drop us some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this upcoming project, the Imperial Knight. And go on over, check out The Nerd Life, Richard, formerly known as Tattoo for You. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, go subscribe to The Nerd Life. And we would love to have you as part of the factory on the Frost and Fist. Until next time, guys.
That's just
Stay frosty.
Wow, guys, an entire Imperial Knight from the Nerd Life Richard himself. Can you believe it? I mean, a whole Imperial Knight. That is one heck of a model to get from my brother man. So thank you so much, Richard. Guys, I say it all the time. If you haven't checked out Richard over at the Nerd Life, formerly known as Tattoo for You Richard, please go do so, because he is got the biggest heart, and he's one of the most down-to-earth, most fun and family-friendly channels you will find. And the man does it all. You know, he has got his family heavily involved in his nerd life, and that family dynamic while working the nerd life aspect really works for him. Awesome channel, awesome chap. You know, go check out my brother. While we're on the subject of gifts, today in the mail I got a gift from my brother Pete over at Mini Warzone. And in the mail was Roadhouse Bound, Keeping It in the Shade, Ka-chow. That's right, the Wolf Brother still listens to CDs. Don't judge me. But this CD is extra special. Guys, if those of you who don't know, Brother Pete over at Mini Warzone was in some music and recorded an album with his band. And I just got this in the mail today. I haven't had an opportunity to listen to it yet, but I will be checking out our brother's music. If the day after he dropped it off in the post for me, he made sure to tell me that there was a letter in it and that he sent it. Actually, he not only told me, but he mentioned it in his show, recording Q and Pete. said that he also included a letter because he had recently seen my Wolfbrother Wednesday where I accidentally shelved a letter from Mike over at Corangela Sicilus, Blood Angels Rock, for months and months. So he made sure to warn me there's a letter in this one. And I have to check out what it is. There's something solid here. 1 penny. Excellent. Hello from Mini Warzone. Dear Methos, I hope that this letter reaches you safe and sound. In with this, you should find one of my old band CDs, best played loud, as they say, though there might be the odd swear word here and there, so be careful who's listening. Lol. Indeed so, my friend, because my beautiful wife Lily, Mrs. Cushionata, will certainly get on to me if I play the music loud with swear words in front of the girls, so thank you so much for the warning. I also enclose a lucky penny that will hopefully bring you good fortune when rolling upon the field of battle. I'm taking this to every game from now on. You hear me, my brother Pete? Every game. This penny's going places. Take great care, my friend, and love to all. Your brother both in war and peace, Peter Gooding, aka Mini Warzone. And the man is a legitimate lord over in the UK and did not sign that Lord Peter Gooding. He just simply signed it Peter Gooding, aka Mini Warzone. Thank you so much, Pete, my brother. That means a lot to me. I really, really, really appreciate getting a letter with things because I feel like a written letter between friends is kind of a lost art, you know? So I really appreciate the gift. Most certainly, it is going in the car with me when I drive to work tomorrow because the Wolfbrother does listen to CDs. That's right. And so it's going in the CD player first thing in the morning as I head to work. Thank you so much, my brother. So oddly, by about the time that this show will air, I will be on my way to work listening to this in the car. And not only thank you for such an awesome gift and an awesome letter, my man, but thank you for my first set of questions as we go into the Q&A portion. These questions are taken from Q&S, and so this is where Mini Warzone, Pete will ask questions every week for you to answer in your own Q&A series, or you could answer in his comments below on Q&S. And because there was no Wolfbrother Wednesday last week, I'm going to go back and answer 2 of them. The first one was, what 2 things am I looking forward to the most over the next 2 months? So what this answer would have been, loud and proud, is the annual family trip to A-Kon. And usually there's like 20 of us who go to A-Kon. Largest anime convention on this side of the United States. And we've been going together as a family, for, like I said, like 20 of us for 7-8 years now. And this will be the first one in all that time that we've missed. You know, our vacation money is not there this year. But it's kind of odd because out of a 20-person group, most of us have ended up hitting a situation this year that's going to keep most of us from going. And then the rest of us are just like, well, there's not, you know, more than a handful of us going. They just didn't want to, they didn't want to go and leave the rest of us out. So as a family, it seems like all 20-ish of us are going to miss A-Kon this year. And it's different circumstances. Some are out of work this year. Some of us, like us, just ran into situations that ate our vacation fund. Another situation is, you know, I have a sister who will be expecting to give birth right around the time that A-Kon rolls around. So, you know, there's a lot of different circumstances why, but we're not going to be going to that. So what I was looking forward to in the next couple months has disappeared. But I can give one big answer, and that's 8th edition coming out soon. I'm looking forward to that. I like the way my army played before, you know, and as much as I did not like getting deleted off the table when playing against a real shoot-heavy army. However, I really did enjoy the way I eventually ran my army. I did mix it up every once in a while, but for the most part, I had found my average play style, and I really enjoyed it. Now that doesn't. Some of my friends are tired of hearing my whining because I have some concerns about the new edition. I just want to make sure my wolves are going to be able to be a nice, strong melee-heavy army and not need to be played like a more, shoot-heavy marine army. I want to be able to do the things I used to do and charge across the table and punch stuff in the face. And I want to make sure that's going to be viable. So I have some concerns going into 8th. Anytime they put out a little more information, I'm like, okay, are we going back to buffing shooting armies, or is this going to allow us to have some balance in here? I'm concerned about it, but I'm also really excited about it. Also, one of the things coming up in the next couple months, nothing set in stone yet. Still got to work out some details with our lovely wives, check some dates, seeing whose schedule lines up with who, and making sure that works out. Haven't even run it by Darklight yet, but we have started discussing looking at some opportunity to visit our wonderful brother Richard and his lovely wife Kristen over at the Nerd Life, formerly known as Tattoo for You. We had an awesome visit at the end of the year last year, and it's past time that we go see them again. Those guys are a family away from home, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them again. Again, nothing is set in stone yet, but we're really looking at making that happen. So those are 2 things that I am really looking forward to over the next couple months. Next is, what was your last purchase and what is going to be your next purchase? Okay, so what I want to be my next purchase, of course, is 2 things. Of course, I'm looking forward to all my 8th edition stuff that is time to buy. I'm looking forward to the inexpensive codex they talked about, being able to get your hand on an inexpensive, they're going to put out digital rules, but of course, I like having paper in front of me. And so, I'm looking forward to getting some stuff for 8th edition, whatever I need. And I'm also looking forward to that Imperial Knight you guys saw in my unboxing with Richard. I want to get one of those wolf's heads that can be put on the Imperial Knight to give it a more wolfy appearance, So a wolf Imperial Knight head is also going to be one of my next purchases. As for what is the last thing I purchased for the hobby, I have a special unboxing and project coming up to show you guys regarding that, so I'm not going to give away the full answer just yet, but it is something that was recently released for Space Wolves, and that's all I'm going to say. It is Space Wolf specific and a recent release. I am really looking forward to having that here, putting it together for you guys, and painting it up in my colors. I want to do it right now. But thank you so much for your questions, my man. I love taking the questions from your channel. They're usually really great questions that invoke, some definite thought. So I appreciate that. And I hope you guys will go over to Mini Warzone and check out his Q&S questions of the week, and drop him some comments down below and answer some questions for him, because Pete has such a fantastic show, such a fantastic channel, and I think you'll definitely benefit from some conversation answering his questions of the week. Next up, Richard, my man over at the Nerd Life. So he and his wonderful wife Kristen both give a question during their show, so there's going to be 2 sets of 2 here. First one, Kristen asks, have you ever had the chicken pox? And I absolutely did. I have no idea what exact age it was. I want to say around 5 or 6-ish, very, very young. And I had it right before Halloween. What's funny is that I stopped being sick and I stopped being contagious around Halloween, but of course, my parents didn't want to let me around other kids, of course, because they didn't want to take the chance that I could infect someone else. So we had some neighbors that were friends of the family that everybody in their family had also already had the chicken pox, and my parents let me costume up, and I put on some makeup because I was self-conscious about the dried up scabs, and I put on some Halloween makeup. I think I was a zombie. Yeah, I was a zombie that year, and all the little dried up scabs were bullet. They helped me put on costume makeup to be like little wounds or bullet holes, and my little outfit was also riddled with a bunch of bullet holes, and I was just bleeding everywhere. And because my neighbors had all already had the chicken pox, we had us a little mini Halloween party, and they were also dressed up for this little, family to family get together. It was kind of fun, and made me feel like I didn't have to miss Halloween, which felt great. Of course, Richard asks, what does nerd life mean to you? And I think everybody else has already said it as best as it possibly could be said. Doing the things that mean something to us, that bring us some kind of enjoyment without having to worry about, being looked down upon, right? No judgment. I have many times, been kind of hesitant to tell people what I enjoy or what I like doing, because I don't want people to think of me as, a freak or a nerd and of course, just as I've gotten older, as I've gotten more experience and gone through life and just become more confident and comfortable in who I am, I could care less now what most people think, and I may not tell them everything, but for the most part, I'm comfortable celebrating things I like, whether or not anybody else likes it. So that's what I think it is just being able to be comfortable doing what you're doing, and not being ashamed or afraid to say what it is that you like. What odd job would you want to do? Of course, none of the super crazy fancy jobs like, movie star, astronaut, just what is an odd job you like to do? I think I had an answer for this earlier and didn't think of it. I can't think of it. Okay, so it took me a minute to think of it, but I think, looking back on it, if it were just an odd job, nothing special, just something to do, I think an odd job I'd like to have is carpentry. When I was in high school, I always liked woodshop work. I took woodshop for a couple of semesters, and I just really enjoyed working with my hands and creating stuff and making something really long-lasting. In fact, my little brothers over at their house right now have a cabinet, that I built in high school and has been around all this time, I'm not saying that high school was a super long time ago, of course, but however long or not so long ago that was, the cabinet's still around. So, anyways, also, I helped my neighbor, Mr. Brinkley, put together an entire greenhouse one time, and that took a lot of, just that working with wood kind of feeling. That's what I said, working with wood, don't judge me. Anyways, that kind of feeling, I don't know, again, that accomplished feeling of building something, creating something, and that greenhouse was there for years, so something long-lasting, it's a good feeling. So I would definitely say that woodworking would be an odd job I'd like to have. Very similarly, Kristen asks, what did you want to be when you grew up, and are you doing it now? And I went through several phases, of course, as I think many of us do. Growing up, at first I wanted to be a police officer, and that didn't happen. I wanted to be a paleontologist for a while, and I'd always liked in school and life sciences, studying about dinosaurs and stuff like that. I didn't know that they were called paleontologists until Jurassic Park. But once I met Dr. Grant in Jurassic Park, I'm like, yeah, that's what it was. I want to be a paleontologist. And that lasted for several years, until right about the time that I got kicked out of high school. But by then, I was wanting to go into the military, and none of those things worked out. But once I tore my ACL, I had already started taking cooking classes, and getting started on some of my rush experience. So some of the cooking classes I took, you got extra credit for actually working in a kitchen, and cooking at a restaurant. And so I was getting some training at a couple restaurants, and I thought that was for sure going to be my path, was I was going to learn to become a chef. Positive that was going to happen. And then the estimates came back for how much I'd have to pay for culinary school, and that didn't happen. And then, of course, life got in the way a bunch. I got kicked out of school, and that's a story for another time. I got kicked out of school, never finished high school, got a GED later in life, and it's funny because I had that stop in my education then, but now I'm a subject matter expert with specialization in behavioral science for safety. But yeah, it's just funny because you think you have a plan so sure on what you're going to do in life when you grow up, and the plan for most people doesn't work out that way. I very once in a while meet someone who actually executed their plan on what they were going to do when they grew up. A friend of mine, Shirley Ann Foster, knew he was going to work with music and education his entire life, and then I met him, not that high school was a long time ago, but I met him a number of years later. That may be a lot or a little. And sure enough, the man has traveled around the country and now teaches music theory at a college. Mind blown, because I've never actually known anyone to say this is what I want to do with my life and then actually execute that plan. But after him, I met a couple more people who did it. So it goes as planned for some people and not so much for others. And I am definitely on the furthest train from the plan working out. But great question, guys. I really enjoyed that because kind of makes, I don't know, that kind of question almost makes you take a look back through your life and get introspective. And I'm going to end that on the dream job, of course. One day, I would like to be able to take what I'm doing now and, have Freak and I be able to open up a Frosted and Fists game store. Gaming tables, models, paints, the whole works. Do commissioning painting while owning the store. And of course, if we're going to have the store open for hours a day, we can do daily podcasts and stuff like that, podcast streams, continue to do tons of Frosted Fist material right there in our own store. So it would be a gaming store / painting studio / YouTube studio all in one. That is the dream. I don't know if I'll ever actually get there, but because owning a store takes a ton of financial stability, but it's a dream, right? I can gaze in that direction and hope one day that works out. Great questions, guys. I really appreciate. And of course, go check out the Nerd Life if you have not checked them out already. That's going to be like my 18th plug, I'm pretty sure. But go check out the Nerd Life anyways. 19. Next, I have TLR Wargaming, the Lone Ranger. And the Lone Ranger asked a couple questions on his Asking My Audience. Of course, that's his weekly channel, episode to, ask his audience, his viewers a question. You can answer them down and below or answer them in your own weekly show. And this first one is if you think prefabricated models are the way of the future. And of course, he's referring to ones like X-Wing has some, and other companies are starting to do the same, especially companies that have the board game and models combination in one. The models that are already put together. In some cases they're colored, some cases they're not. In some cases they need to be painted, but they're already assembled. In some cases, like X-Wing, they are assembled, they're perfectly painted. You have to do literally nothing to them, just put them on the stand and play. And, his idea is that that's the way of the future. It's going to take less effort to get into these games. And I can definitely see where that is removing a big barrier for some people to get into the game. I think there's certainly a place for prefabricated models. I know tons of people who actually just full-time play with Grey Armies. And there's nothing wrong with that because they're still willing to get in the game. So prefabricated models for an army might be the way into the future for some, but there's so many people who love the personalization, the hobby aspect, putting the models together, customizing the models, converting, painting. I mean, look at the Golden Demon, community. So many people who just painting competitions in general, not even just Golden Demon, but I mean the community is filled with people who are continuously pushing the boundaries of their own painting skill and trying to work up to that next level. People who strive every day to get better and better and better and better for nothing other than the hobby itself. There are some people who just become phenomenal painters, like Mike over at Curangela Sicilis, who do nothing but paint all. I mean, he's learning to play now, but how many years did it take him to get to where he was playing? Because it was just the hobby for years and years. You know, I think the hobby itself is such a large aspect. I don't think you'll ever get rid of that. In fact, you know, I like to tell people that for the value of what I'm spending on the models, I'm not getting the figurine, the piece on the army itself for what I'm spending. I'm getting time spent playing with it and enjoying it that way as one value that I'm getting for the cost. But I'm also getting the time and man hours I put into creating it, putting it together, and painting it as another value that I'm getting for it. You know, it's like, man, I've gotten like 20 hours of playtime with this model, but I've also gotten, you know, a good solid, you know, 12, 15 hours of, you know, building, converting, painting this model. You know, I got a ton of enjoyment out of this one piece because I'm enjoying all aspects of it. But great question, my man. I don't think that'll ever go away because there's so many people like myself who love the hobby aspect. Do you think that officially licensed franchises are trying to steal away business away from GW, or are they just striking while the iron is hot? I don't think necessarily that those companies are out to get GW. And of course, what he's talking about is the officially licensed franchises, like, you know, us getting a Terminator game in the, you know, wargaming style game or board game right now. Us getting a Fallout style one. You know, these big fantasy franchises. You know, they're making their own war game or board game in response, I think, to just the amount of success that's being had right now. You know, wargaming, to me, from everything I've seen, all indicators show that wargaming is more of a popular and socially acceptable hobby now than it's ever been. There's more of a place in today's society for what we do, and largely, I think, thanks to the miracle of the internet, you know. And I think that the other thing is that it's okay to be a nerd nowadays, you know. It's the age of the geek, baby. You know, if you watch any Leverage, that's Hardison's favorite line. But it's true, it's the age of the geek, you know. It's the nerd life, you know. It's okay to be a nerd nowadays, and I think that is largely leading into, you know, why all these things are so popular. So, being that it's more socially acceptable to be into wargaming nowadays, you know, and so many more people are jumping into this hobby of ours, I think these other companies are just seeing the amount of money being made from companies like GW and saying, hey, you know, we're not trying to shut down GW, but let's get our slice of the pie too. So every company likes money, right? Just my personal thoughts on it. Kuja Hyra says, what are 2 weeks ago he asked, what are your top 5 guilty pleasures in food? So I'm going to start with number 1 being energy drinks, because I'm not supposed to have them. You know, being that I'm dealing with a sensitive pancreas. But I love them anyways, and I try and work a way around that all the time by trying to get carb-free, sugar-free ones, you know, trying to minimize the damage. I'm not supposed to have them in general, but I love my energy drinks just because I love the little buzz it gives me, you know. They taste, you know, I've gotten to where I think they taste good. I love the feeling that they give me. Just in general, I love my energy drinks. Number 2, mozzarella sticks. Because, again, I shouldn't have anything deep fried, and just deep fried, hot, ooey gooey, you know, cheese, just melting away. Yeah, the guilty pleasure for sure. Number 3, fried chicken. Number 4 is ribs. Not the healthiest piece of meat out there. Can definitely get fatty, but I definitely love some good ribs. Pork ribs, beef ribs, I'll take them all. And then number 5, a nice juicy cheeseburger, you know, especially one that's medium rare. Again, cheeseburgers, super guilty pleasure because they're so unhealthy for you, but they've always just been a comfort food to me. And just like if I'm stressing out, like I like them as a guilty pleasure, but I also like them like as a stress food. If I'm having a terrible week and I've worked like 60 hours and I'm stressing out, sometimes I just want a great big juicy cheeseburger. I don't know why. That's my go-to. That's my go-to stress food. Some people will eat a tub of ice cream when they stress out. I go get a cheeseburger. But yeah, so thanks for your question. Thanks for making me tell on myself in front of the world, Kuja. Great question, my man. And then he brings that to what are your top 5 drinks of all time? This one I haven't had one in years since my son hooked me up. I think the year that we first started, talking and getting to know each other when he was 14. But cherry lemon Sundrop. So Sundrop is a citrus soda, much like Mountain Dew, but a little more tart, a little less sweet, got a little more kick. And the cherry lemon Sundrop, of course, variation that got a. Again, it's got a little more of that tart kind of flavor, but it's also like got some of that sweet cherry flavor. I don't know. It's like a Code Red, but better. And they sell this over in North Carolina. They do not sell it here in Texas. So I have literally had exactly 1 6-pack since I left North Carolina. 10 or so. A number of years ago. That may not be a lot, or may be a lot, but probably not a lot. But yeah, I haven't had a cherry lemon Sundrop in years. But still, to me, that's my favorite soda of all time. Number 2, sweetened iced tea, because sweetened tea is the best, right, babe?
No, that stuff is nasty.
I love some good sweet tea, especially Texas sweet tea. Nice and, so sweet it'll give you cavities. Nice and iced down. Totally refreshing. Number 3, my third favorite drink of all time is a Crown and Coke. I'm a Crown man, and Crown and Coke has always been my go-to drink. I used to be a Jack Daniels man. One of my brothers one day was trying to catch up with everyone else, having gotten to a party late, and after he tried to catch up, it ended up all in my carpets for weeks, and I can't drink Jack Daniels now. Little side story. My next one is Shiner Bock. Local beer here in Texas. It is it's a dark Bock kind of beer. Really tasty. And it goes perfectly in a cold and frosted glass. Yeah. And then number 5, my favorite drink of all time, of course. I have to have this every day, whether it's plain and black or, a Starbucks frilly, special. I gotta have some coffee in me. Coffee is my lifeblood. If I could get that injected directly into my veins, then I probably would. But yeah, coffee is my number 1 favorite drink of all time. Great questions, Kuja. Really appreciate that. And next I have Emperor's Path. Sam asked me, my question for you, brother, is if you had to start 30K but could only pick a traitor legion, what legion would it be? Now, part of me wants to answer Alpha Legion because just I love Hydras in general, but I think my actual answer would have to be Sons of Horus, my man. Because if I were to start a traitor legion, especially 30K, I would not only start Sons of Horus, but I would take it back to even more old school than that and have the true origins of the Sons of Horus, and I would play the Luna Wolves, so that way I could still put my wolfy spin on things, do up a little conversion, and keep being my Wolfbrother self. Thank you so much for your question, my brother. My last question is from For the Tsar. It says, why doesn't your brother want Slanesh in the house? He's the god of pleasure and excess. I'm sure there are many things that we could think of that could apply. You're saying if I had to be against my will, had to pick, a chaos god, I would totally pick Slanesh and partake of some of the excess. I'm just saying. But of course, he says that he doesn't want any of the Slanesh in the house because my brother is an Eldar player, and of course, you guys know if you follow any of the fluff the Eldar are the race that basically partied and boned the god Slaanesh into existence. And so, of course, all souls go straight to the Eldar. That's why they created the Soul Stones, to keep their soul from being devoured by She Who Thirsts whenever they die. And they kind of live their lives constantly in the mindset that, their soul, for them, they know that they have the Soul Stones that can protect and preserve their soul, but still, the threat is still always very real, that for them, death could be the ultimate end, because their soul could literally be ripped straight to She Who Thirsts. And so that's just him being in character for the fluff of his wonderful Eldar, is just being very knowledgeable, that feeling of trying to escape She Who Thirsts. And on top of that, he's written out his own fluff for his Eldar army, and in that fluff, he discusses, of course, there are some of the Eldar that want to just, hope that Slaanesh problem goes away, and some that actively want to seek, solutions to Slaanesh. And he tends to think of his army as the side of the Eldar that want to find a solution to Slaanesh later on. So that's just him being very in character. Great question, though, my man. Alright, guys, so that's all the questions that I have for the week. Kind of a long one this time, because I did have, double up on my questions. I'm going to try not to miss very many of these Wolfbrother Wednesdays and have to do the makeup thing later on. However, I can tell you that at the beginning of the month, every month, if just the way that deadlines fall from the previous month, sometimes the beginning of the month is spent with me cleaning up deadlines from the previous month. So every once in a while, at the beginning of the month, I might miss a Wolfbrother Wednesday just because of the sheer volume of work that I have. I'm going to try not to let that happen, and if I do, I'll make sure that, like last week, if I can't stop and actively record a Wolfbrother Wednesday, then I'll have a video ready to go in its place. Just like when I missed last week's, I had the Dwarven Showcase ready to go. Real quick, so my own question for this week is that soon I'll be doing a video on top formations that I'm going to miss, now that we know that all existing formations are going away in the upcoming 8th edition. With that in mind, I'd like to hear about your thoughts on the rule of formations. Are there any formations that you guys are going to miss as we go into the 8th edition? And if you're the kind of person that's going to miss the Riptide Wing, you need Jesus. You need Jesus. You know you're wrong for that. Alright, guys, thank you so much. If you liked this episode, then grab up an axe and smash that like button in the name of the Emperor. And of course, drop us some comments down below letting us know what you thought about today's episode of Wolfbrother Wednesday. And of course, if you guys are not yet subscribed to the channel, then I know that our new Brother Shroud, our other Brother Freak, and of course myself would all love to have you as part of the pack here on the Frost and Fist. Until next time, guys, stay frosty.